Planned Brotherhood is not affiliated or associated with Planned Parenthood or the movie Parenthood by Steve Martin. Planned Parenthood is a registered trademark of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Incorporated.
It must have been, it must have been, it must have been a happy time. It must have been, it must have been, it must have been a happy time. The sun would shine, the candy bars, Kool-Aid flowing like wine, the comic books, the TV shows, the bubble gum, the kitty cat.
Is that product in your hair or no?
Nothing today, no.
It looks all natural, but I thought maybe a product was the reason for that.
No, I actually hate my hair like this.
It's a little poofy.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it though. When I got back to the hotel last night, I was so sweaty. She was begging me to take a shower, but I wouldn't do it.
It wasn't. I mean, I guess it was a long walk from where we were at, but really, you were that sweaty?
Yeah, and it was like a day of long walking, and then when I got in that hotel, it was like just so fucking hot in there anyway. So I strip off all my clothes, and I'm soaking wet, and I just pumped up the AC in the hotel room. It was great.
So you,
as I didn't die during the night.
You didn't go ahead and take a shower for her?
No.
We were exhausted. It was a long day.
Well, that was the thing.
It was a long day of rocking and rolling. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. And she falls asleep so quickly. I was like, no, because then you're going to fall asleep. I'll be fucking bored. I was like, if you come sit on the toilet while I take a shower, I'll do it. So you talk to me the whole time, but I was lonely.
Yeah, that's why I don't shower very often. I don't have anybody there to help me out.
Showering is so boring. Like, I fucking hate it before work.
Even when it's been like, and I'm not speaking from experience here, but let's say it's been like 3 days since you've taken a shower.
Yeah.
Isn't it in that moment, whether you have something to listen to or somebody to talk to or not, doesn't it feel great?
It does once I get in there.
Once you watch that slime pour down your body?
Yeah, I just seriously dread getting it. Once I get in there, I'm fine, and it's pretty quick, you know. I can do my shit and get out of it. I had lots of shower experience by now.
For the most part, I bring my iHome into the bathroom now.
Yeah, I have a really shitty portable one that's like, so if you turn it up loud at all, it's just super distorted.
Oh, I know the one.
But I hate lugging the iHome like out of my bedroom where it's plugged in like under the bed and behind a board, and you have to go fucking do all that and then bring it into the bathroom.
First thing I'm going to do when I get my inevitable raise, because I'm doing so awesome at my new job, is an iHome for every room. Because I hate having to lug it even from the living room to my bedroom.
Yeah, it's a fucking pain in the ass. And
our Uncle Tracy is already living the dream. I think it's still the case that he has a TV in every room of his house, including both bathrooms.
I don't think there's one in that downstairs bathroom.
Well, fucking get on that, Tracy.
Yeah, there might be one in the upstairs one.
There's a reason I don't spend the night at your house every single night.
A, you're not invited.
That was I was invited the other night.
You slept there after a party?
Yeah, a birthday party, which my Uncle Tracy was the star of, I think it's fair to say.
Really?
Yeah, man, he had a good time, and people that had never met him knew him through Facebook. So he's just like a little mini celebrity. And I mean mini in every sense of the word. But things ended up getting a little dramatic, and my ride left before I did, and so Uncle Tracy was nice enough to let me crash on his living room floor.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, and then we spent the whole next morning smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, and talking about religion.
Really?
If only the mics had been there, yeah.
So how did you ever get back to Seattle? You took a bus?
No, Kelly had stayed the night at her sister's, so once she was done with everything, she came and picked me up.
Who was your ride back that ditched you?
I don't know why that's relevant at all. She had good reason to leave. She told me that she had to walk her dogs. My friend Margaret.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to stick around, see how things were going to pan out.
Oh, okay. You weren't left high and dry.
No, not at all. I knew I had a way back one way or another. I'll just touch on the drama of that party real quick.
Okay. Please do. Grossest laugh ever.
I can still taste that laugh.
Ugh.
No, I don't really want to get into it. Some girl that I slept with a long time ago accused me of giving her herpes. Yeah. I'm not going to keep that in. I don't know why I even said that.
You know it's not true, though. You've never had a herpes breakout.
No, I haven't slept with this girl in 4+ years.
And she slept with a lot of guys since then.
She denies that because when she pulled me aside, I thought it was going to be to confess her love for me all over again because she's kind of a weirdo that way. But no, she told me that I had given her herpes, and then told me right after that she was still in love with me.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently that's our connection now.
I thought she made like an announcement to the party that you gave her herpes.
She did that as well.
Wow.
And an announcement to the party that she was still in love with me. And then one of the hosts of the party, because she threw up all over their backyard at this point, he was helping her upstairs to get to the bathroom so she could throw up again. And while he was like patting her back and holding her hair back, she was talking about how much she was in love with me while throwing up.
Wow. Did she realize that maybe she blew it with this whole herpes thing?
No, I think that was her weird, crazy-ass attempt to get me back. Like, nobody else is going to want you. But that's not true. My friend Kelly tells me that they have online dating sites devoted to people with herpes. So I'm going to check those guys out.
I don't think you have herpes.
I don't think so either. Like, I've slept with...
Herpes are for life, though.
PJ, I'm aware of the disease. I am getting tested.
I'm sure you've looked it up a lot since then.
Yeah, but I think I would have heard something from the other girls I've slept with since then.
Yeah.
And that I would have noticed something down below within the last 4 years.
Yeah.
You got pot on your nose.
This is the girl who I met at
By the way, I told her, okay, you have herpes. I'm still in love with you. Don't talk about this on your podcast. That's the order things went in. Yeah.
Well, fuck that. I mean, come on.
I'm not naming names. I'm not giving anything away. I've slept with a lot of women in my time, as all of our listeners know. Could be any one of them.
I met her at his birthday party, the one that was prom themed at a casino.
All right, now you're making it too easy to narrow it down.
Yeah, but there was lots of people at that party.
Mm-hmm. Only so many fuckable.
Yeah, if you say so about this girl. But anyway, she was like standing right in front of me and like looking at me and whispering to her friend. And I mean, this was like 2 years ago, so this was more recently after you had slept with her. And she was like, "Oh, there he is. That's him. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I be brave to like come over and say hi to me and introduce herself to me?" And then
was she aware? Were we doing the show at this point?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
She had heard us on. She had heard me on there, and then so she came up and she introduced herself to me, and I said, "Oh, you're," and I gave her MySpace name, which I know I shouldn't give it. I don't remember it anyway. And she was like, "Yes, on MySpace." And I said, "That's the only way I think of people is like through MySpace profiles."
This is definitely a conversation that's 2 years old.
Yeah. And then she was like, okay.
Whatever.
And just walked away from me. So I've never been
What was
a
the
fan.
point of coming up to you anyway?
I know, and especially like after standing right in front of me and like to where I can hear you going,
And she
should I
knows you
go
can hear
talk
it.
to
She's
him?
making a
Should I go
production.
talk to him?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just made it way too
From what I
long.
remember, she barely talked to me at all that day, that
Yeah.
night, and I was thankful for it. And then I saw her at a rolling skating party. We have lots of awesome parties as 30-year-olds in my friendship group. But yeah, I fell into her at one point, quite literally by accident. But this isn't about my herpes. This isn't about the outbreaks that I've been denying for years. This is about Bumbershoot, I guess.
Yeah, celebration.
That's why you're
of
here.
Music and arts.
Yeah. You seemed a little surprised when I told you that they had like literary tents and film festivals and stuff.
I mean, I knew that it wasn't only music, but
You knew that there was comedy.
I was surprised by that. Yeah, I knew it was like music, comedy, and a shitload of booths. You know, I'm from Yakima, to where when they do stuff like that, they don't even have that much.
So you show up. You didn't go Saturday when I went, but you went yesterday, and you have a VIP pass. Now,
Right.
PJ, what all does this involve?
I
How did you get your grubs on one of these?
There's a girl who I work with who told me that her aunt.
Is Bob Dylan?
I think she said that her aunt like ran Bumbershoot, but I don't think there's any one person that does that. But I don't know. She's up there in the ranks.
If she is the one person like in charge of Bumbershoot, I got to imagine she wears a sash, right?
Yeah,
Let people know.
I would assume. And then, So I asked her to get me a free ticket, and then so when I got into town, I just told Alvina to drop me off just anywhere close to there, and I would go find. I had to go to the VIP press tent to get my pass to get inside. And
So this is before we left when you told me which tent you were going to, and I was doing some digging online, trying to figure out what fucking perks you're going to get that I have to sit through all day,
yeah.
that I have to fucking hear
Yeah,
about.
well, I had no idea what kind of pass I was still expecting just a ticket to get in, and just that's where it's left.
Right.
But I go, they don't have it under my name. Well, first I couldn't find the place, so I crossed the street and I asked these two lady cops, hey, I'm looking for this press tent on Mercer. And this lady cop looks at me and she goes, okay, well, first of all, can you do me a favor and follow the pedestrian crosswalk and not put yourself in danger crossing the street, just running across? And I looked at her and I said, never mind, I'll find it. Like, this was not how I wanted to start my day. I just got told that I'm going to the VIP press tent and this lady's trying to ruin my high. Something like that can really ruin my day. So I ran away from her. I walked away pretty quickly.
And into traffic.
Yeah, yeah. And I found it, but they don't have it under my name. I called the girl. I end up getting it.
I was waiting on that phone call from you that wasn't quite coming.
Yeah.
Because we were waiting in the comedy line.
Turns out it was under the girl's name. So, yeah, I got my ticket. And then, VIP pass. And I'm under the impression that I'm going to get, like, free beer, free food. There's going to be all these special areas, all this kind of stuff. Turns out there's one little courtyard that you can go into with this VIP pass for free food, which is like Tim's chips, Cliff Bars, and Krispy Kreme donuts. We saw some sandwiches in there, although when I went to go get one, they weren't there.
Maybe that guy just brought it in.
Yeah.
He looked like the type that might pack a lunch to Bumbershoot.
No free beer. They just changed that rule this year. So.
I know, man. There was no reason for you to go hang out in there.
I can't believe people would pay money on that VIP pass because all it was like some chips. Like, we didn't get any money's worth out of it, and that was with me giving it, like, to Haley and stuff to keep running in there and get, like...
Donuts. Specifically donuts.
How can you take advantage of it? Later when we saw Weezer, there was supposed to be, like, VIP seating.
But you never even bothered to check that out, did you?
Well, yeah, I mean, did you... Because if it was, like, in the stands, that was, like, way off to the side. You wouldn't be able to see anything.
I think there's tables
Rivers
and stuff.
Cuomo was jumping all around the fucking place. Like, you couldn't keep your eyes on him at all. If it was, like... some sort of like weird super up front, then like if I found out that was the case, then I would be bummed that I didn't do it. But I liked where we were.
You liked where you were because you were next to me.
Yeah.
And Weezer, I don't know how much I've ever gotten into this on the show. Weezer was a very important band to me at a certain point in my life.
Yeah.
I'd say
Weezer was one of the few bands that I really liked, like without liking music at all.
Yeah. But, I mean, they've obviously gone off the deep end these last several years. And I acknowledge that I don't even know their hits anymore. But they were very crowd-pleasing last night for the most part. A lot of Blue Album. Only one Pinkerton song, which is the album. I'm still that asshole at 30 years old that puts Pinkerton in his top 10 albums of all time. Because I think it's that amazing.
I don't have a top 10 album.
How many soundtracks has Glee released? I saw Weezer. Oh, yeah, you saw him, too, the day Alvina broke up with you back in 2000.
Yeah, when I was...
Obviously, that stuck.
Was it 2000?
I think it was... I don't know.
It might have been 2001. Yeah, it had to have been, because I knew Alvina, and we didn't meet until 2001.
Oh, okay. So you weren't dating that long before she decided to break up with you. Wasn't that because she was going to boot camp or something?
It was either that or religious differences.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
She's never struck me as particularly godly.
Because she didn't break up with me to go to boot camp. Like, she was just going to boot camp. So
Kyle Cease's boot camp?
Yeah, exactly. She's $1 million headliner right now. No, but I think that was it. I think that's when she was going there because I was just like really sad, and I had a picture of her, and I watched I didn't like sit with you guys. I went off by myself.
There are a lot of songs on Pinkerton that would speak to that moment. PJ.
I know, but like all I knew about Weezer was the Blue Album, and I was just too depressed. Like I just left.
I was not depressed. In fact, I was super fucking stoked because this was at my prime Weezer love, and it was just the first two albums that I really cared about. But I really cared about them, and it was the weirdest openers. It was Jimmy Eat World, who are apparently still relevant. Somebody told me.
Yeah.
Somebody stupid, I'm sure. And then Tenacious D.
I remember them well.
And then Weezer, and so that was a weird lineup anyway. It was, where was this? Key Arena must have been.
Yeah.
Something obnoxious.
I remember going to that same McDonald's we went to last night.
Oh, okay. To cry
By the
over
way,
that picture?
I ate like a fucking asshole.
So did
at
I.
McDonald's last night.
It was fucking
no
ridiculous.
wonder I was so out of breath when I got back to the hotel. I just ate 3 cheeseburgers and fries. Like, what the fuck?
We hadn't eaten that much throughout the day.
I'd only had those Tim's chips.
VIP. But going back to the 2001 show, I guess it was. Yeah, so I sat through Jimmy Eat World and Tenacious D. Really enjoyed Tenacious D. I'm over that now. Weezer, I still have a strange boner for.
Yeah.
But I was like way up at the front and made my way up front so that I knew that I would be up front when Weezer came out. And this is the first like big arena type show I'd ever been to. Like previous to this, it was Weird Al maybe 3 times, twice at the fair, and then the Presidents we'd seen with our Uncle Barry.
Really, that's it?
I'm
When did you start going to all these? I mean, there was
No.
Warp tours and stuff.
Yeah, we would go to the occasional Warp Tour. Me
Yeah.
and Nick Kay one year went to Warp Tour and decided that we were
went to Infest a few times.
Yeah. Me and Nick Kay, I'm going to guess 98 or 99. It was when I really liked Pennywise. And I think that was the main reason we were going. And we decided that we wanted to dye our hair before we went to Warp Tour to fit in. But, of course, we can't do that as Jehovah's Witnesses. Our parents would have freaked the fuck out. So instead we went to Hot Topic the day before and bought, like, the spray and stuff. And it was a fucking 100-degree day out. And so we're jamming out to Pennywise or fucking whoever else is there. And we're sweating. And so there's, like, blue and green dye just running down our
You know
faces.
how ridiculous you must have looked?
It's an embarrassing thought to call back to. But Weezer was like, it's an indoor arena. And so once it's apparent that Weezer's going to be out within the next few minutes, you know, after Tenacious D had finished their set, everybody starts pushing towards the front. And I was not used to this. I've been to shows like this since and was a little more prepared for it. But I was really frail at this point in my life. I was a skinny little bastard.
I remember seeing, I think it was Primus at one of those Infests. Was Primus ever at one of them?
I think they were at a Warp Tour.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was it. And then it being like I was really close to the front. And, like, just fucking I couldn't stay on my feet, and it was really scary, and it takes forever to get out of there.
Yeah.
Fucking takes forever, unless, like, you crowd surf to the end.
There's a crowd surfing story, too, after this.
Oh, okay.
That you're involved with.
Yeah, I've crowd surfed. Strung out, right?
Yeah. But the point of the Weezer thing is, all of a sudden, I can't fucking handle it. Like, it's the second time in my life. The other time, as devoted listeners remember, was when I saw that screening of Batman Forever with Dad.
No.
There were too many people in there, and I had to get out. So that's the same thing I had with Weezer, but so much so. And I was towards the front, so it took me a good 15 minutes to push myself out of that crowd and into the bathroom where I immediately threw up. Like, threw up my guts.
Because you were just so overwhelmed? Or
Yeah,
the
like,
body
booze
heat?
had never entered my life at this point. It was just...
I mean, like, was it, like, fear, or, like, you got sick from all the people?
I think it was just a matter of, like our cousin Tim, and I suppose it's hereditary, probably heat stroke.
Yeah, I guess.
And that floating bone wasn't helping either. Yeah, so that kind of sucked. I was listening to Only in Dreams from the bathroom as I was puking my guts out. But then I came back out, found a drafty area, and enjoyed the rest of the show. I probably enjoyed last night's show equally, but for very different reasons. Because when I saw Weezer in 2001 and you were crying at McDonald's, like, what I remember most about that show is how little
I wasn't
stage...
crying. I was, like, writing poetry.
With your tears.
And crying.
But Rivers Cuomo had no stage presence whatsoever. This was because he'd already, like, shit on Pinkerton. It's the most embarrassing. It's like I exposed my diary to 100 million fans, and I fucking hate the fans. And he was just a total asshole all the time, every interview, totally outspoken. I knew a guy that supposedly had been a roadie for Weezer one time, or a band that they were opening for, and said that Rivers Cuomo, so he didn't have to deal with the fans when he was coming into whatever, place he was doing, would put himself in one of the trunks that the equipment goes in, and had like a pillow and stuff set up in there just so he didn't have to encounter anybody before a show. And he didn't talk at all during this whole entire show. The only thing I remember, because it was the only thing that could be merited as somewhat interesting, was he bent down to tie a shoe between songs once, and I was like, wow, he fucking did something. That's not even an exaggeration. That's literally what I remember most about that show.
That's
and they
good.
didn't play any fucking
I don't remember
Pinkerton.
that at all about that show. I only watched a little bit of it anyway.
Right.
But, yeah, it was a big difference last night.
Apparently a decade makes a lot of difference because last night was the most fucking... I said crowd-pleasing before because he played a lot of Blue albums. Still only one Pinkerton song, and the most obvious, El Scorcho. But, yeah, this guy was fucking out to make us laugh and smile. I don't know where to start.
Well, there was lots of like climbing up the rafters, and he jumped on that big garbage can at one point.
Yeah, you'd hear him singing like the song was going on, but he would disappear for like 2 minutes at a time, and then all of a sudden he'd show up and he's like hanging off the rafters. You're right, It was fucking ridiculous. At one point he was humping a beach ball on stage, and then of course the coup de grace.
Well, someone threw a hat up on stage, and he put that on. And he was dancing around with it, and then like.
And at another point, he went off the stage and put on another hat, only long enough to come back out on the stage and then throw it out to somebody.
Yeah.
And then that weird, I assume, contest winner came up and
yeah.
got to sing along with him at one point.
Dude, I forgot about that. That was crazy. This guy just comes up to sing along, and Rivers is all like just jumping around and all
trying to get him
up.
because the kid is fucking nervous.
And he's just standing there and like kind of singing along.
I don't even know the song. It was
Like,
probably fucking Pork and Beans.
He had like one hand in his pocket. And
was the other one hailing a taxi?
The other one was turning his hat just backwards and forwards the whole time, remember? And then Rivers jumped over and put it on backwards. The kid was so nervous. Like, it would have been funnier to see someone up there who really got into it.
I think by the end he was warming up a little, but then he was booted off the stage. You got your time, buddy.
Yeah.
And that'll be a story for the next several years. It's better than my throwing up at their 2001 show, I guess. But I also appreciated the fact, ironically, of course, that Rivers Cuomo managed to incorporate Seattle into quite a few of his songs.
Yeah.
Or just,
And
I
just
fucking love you,
talking.
Seattle,
Yeah.
between songs. But
He's getting good on the keyboard. He's learning for you, Seattle.
And then at one point he, Seattle, this is where it all started. And you were like, they're not a Seattle band, are they? I'm like, no, they're from California. Apparently they're just saying music in general. Like it was so fucking broad and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then
Every time, too, we're like, woo, yeah, that's where we are, baby.
my friend lives in Scottsdale. Go back and look at David Spade's old stand-up. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I was thinking about it after all that last night.
But then, of course, he busts into Beverly Hills, which is, of course, a brilliant song. And at one point, I'm going to go ahead and massacre it during the chorus, of course, and everybody knows it. We'll end the episode with it.
I think it was right at the end.
When you listen to this song, which we'll post at the end of this episode of our show, imagine seeing it live and with the following altered lyrics. Wait, I forget. Beverly Hills, that's where I wanna be. Living in Seattle, yo, Beverly Hills. And we haven't even gotten to the wig yet. You tell the wig part.
One of the many times he did. Well, he was playing like, I don't know if it was a song off one of their albums. I haven't heard him in a while, but it was like really weird and like super poppy. And he's like, "This is because I want to watch you guys dance," and like everyone's dancing and stuff. And then he came out from backstage and he had the big yellow wig on it. They covered Poker Face. And it was awesome. Lady Gaga's Poker Face.
I have to say I am unfamiliar with that song.
I was
know
fucking cracking up.
I heard him say Poker Face, and I knew that was a Lady Gaga song, so I got it.
Well,
and then you leaned in.
We should end the show with that one. It says, "With my poker face, poker face."
How about we do a mashup of some kind between the two? That sounds like a lot of work that neither of us wanted to. You did lean in when he did his Poker Face thing and comment that. Would you say that was the one song your wife likes?
No, my wife likes a lot of music like that, but she loves that. She loves Lady Gaga.
What about your daughter? Because I know she gets fucking stoked when Miley Cyrus comes on the radio, which is weird for a 3-year-old.
One song.
What's the song?
It's
And we'll end the episode with that.
I don't even know what it's called. I should know what it's called. It's something
You could
about
sing
like,
it. You could sing
it's
it.
like where the butterfly fly or I hopped on the plane. I hopped in a cab at LAX.
That's it?
It's about her going to LA, and then and the cab driver turned on the radio, and the Britney song was on. The Britney song was on. I put my hands up. They're playing my song. The butterflies fly away.
I know this one.
Not in my head, like yeah. Sophie loves that song. I think it's because they say butterflies.
You got to fix that, dude. What's the one song you can prompt her to sing that's classy? It's Buddy Holly or something?
What's that?
You just give her the first line of a song. Oh, all my love, all my kissing. You should just teach her more things like that.
Yeah.
Sit her down, Give her a copy of My Girl and Stand By Me soundtracks.
Well, it's got to be. She doesn't sing that Miley Cyrus song. She just always wants it on in the car. She'll go, "Can you play my favorite song, please?"
Oh, I thought it was just an occasional radio thing.
No, it's on a CD.
Excellent.
You're
putting money into this.
It's one of Alvina's CDs, a burn CD, and it's Miley Cyrus / Lady Gaga.
I don't usually open up with you about music this much. Granted, the last 5 minutes has been about Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. Let's talk about Strung Out and the.
Oh yeah, going back to that. That was first time we saw Weezer. This is when you were buddies with Chris still. So
we'd go to this place in Seattle called the Rock Candy.
Let's guess a year. This is before Dad abandoned us. So we were like 16, 17 probably at the time.
I was 16.
Rock Candy doesn't exist as a venue in Seattle anymore.
Right.
But yeah, this is like the first show we'd been to that wasn't like
right. Chris was really into
sponsored by KISW or something.
Right.
You know?
Chris was really into all these bands and this radio station. I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, yeah. So he always knew like where there was going to be these bands playing, and there'd be benefit shows. And we went to one like at a school once, and it turned out it was Christian, and we were like moshing each other, and got just to get kicked. Like we walked up to the guy and we said, "Hey, can we mosh?" And he said no, and we're like, "All right!" And like we go out there and start fucking moshing, and they threw us out, and we had a good laugh about it.
Of course,
yeah.
I remember before we even. I'm sorry, were you done?
Oh yeah, I'm just saying that it was just like. These times when like we'd go see these weird bands anywhere,
and this was the one time I went with you guys. I feel like,
yeah.
But I remember we were waiting in line to get in, and Chris was telling us, "Tie your shoes as tight as you can, tuck in the laces." And I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?" But it did help me out later on. But before I get to that, remember the opening band? I think it was like Everything Went Dark or some name like that, of course, and. Strung Out was kind of a punk poppy type band, but this band that opened for them were fucking like hardcore, at least to my 17-year-old eyes. Like I'd never seen anything like it. All I remember is that, you know, they were all thugged out, tattooed guys, but the singer was a woman that was at least 350 pounds. She sat on the side of the stage in a rocking chair, and she sang like this the whole time. Like the whole time, and there was a mosh
Zach,
pit.
who's been on this show, he was in a band that I went and saw play, and that's what he sings.
Yeah, we tried to get him to do a taste of it on episode 54, but yeah, and so that band was fucking intense. Not only because of Crazy Lady, but also there was a mosh pit going on, but a mosh pit where people were like punching each other as hard as they could. And of course I'm thinking I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But I did like Strung Out enough at the time, like I knew a couple of their songs. So once they came on, what was there? No security up there whatsoever?
Yeah, not
Plus
really.
we weigh 130 pounds between the two of us.
Yeah.
So throughout the entire show, we're just jumping up on stage, launching ourselves off the speakers, and not afraid of being dropped. Like I could never do that now.
Yeah, I know.
That's like asking me to skydive now.
Yeah. And it was like the first thing we'd ever been to, outside of Weird Al at the fair and shit like that.
Yeah.
We're like, all right. I know. I was like, oh, Chris is here. Gotta do it.
Yeah. It was exhilarating, though. Can we agree?
Yeah, it was
Did,
fun.
I know Nick Kay was at that
And-
show. Did he crowd surf as well?
Yeah, I think so. And it turns out lots of people try to take off your shoes when you're doing it.
Well, yeah, I had tied my shoes real tight, like Chris had advised me to do. And it was at one point, like I jumped off, and then I'm just floating on the crowd's fingertips. And the venue is so small that I was trying to get back down, but I ended up back on the stage. Like I never hit the floor. And so the second time I go to jump off, I can feel that I did it. Like there's a guy like rocking out right at the front of the stage. And I full out like kicked him in the forehead.
oh, shit.
Yeah. And he was so pissed and so in the moment that he grabbed my shoe and wouldn't let me move on in the surf and was trying to pull it off. But I kicked him again to get away from him, and then never went towards
Maybe
the front
he was
again.
like trying to pull you down to beat you up or something.
I think he was just trying to steal my shoe as a fuck you.
I remember at one point, like, I was doing it, and then there was some guy, and he was, like, all fucking pissed about it, and he's like, you guys knock it the fuck off, and he's, like, trying to pull me down and stuff, and it was the last time I did it.
Speaking of bitches at concerts, let's go back to Weezer last night, just for a second.
Yeah. This was, like I say with that lady cop, things can really ruin my day if I let it. Like, I remember when I saw Live Free or Die Hard in the theater, I was like fucking around with the
Well,
straw.
that
in my
ruined your
cup.
day, whether there was audience there or not.
I was making noise with my cup, and like this woman turns around, and she was such a fucking bitch to me, and she was like, "Are you seriously gonna do that throughout the?" You're not like, "Can you please stop?" or something like that, which I would never do anyway. I'd passive aggressively move, but just like, "Are you seriously gonna do that?" And that ruined the whole movie for me. Like, it was a bad movie, but like I couldn't even pay attention to it. And this is what this lady was like last night.
Yeah, so let me explain. Weezer's on the main stage, so it's a huge outdoor area. But the area we were at was pretty crowded. Everybody smoking fucking pot. You can smell it every which way we turn.
As soon as we got in the crowd.
We didn't have any, which was unfortunate. I mean, we got in high like 2 hours before, but that wasn't going to help us now.
Yeah.
And so I had seen people smoking cigarettes. I decided it's okay for me to smoke a cigarette here.
Right.
Nobody fucking gives a shit.
And we moved off to the side.
Right. And so I lit up a cigarette, and immediately there's this girl in front of me, and she's doing the fucking, like, a bees in front of her face, like waving the smoke dramatically out of her face. And so I apologize and step back a couple of steps, but you were closer to her when she made her move. Which was what?
She ends up like stepping right in front of me, like to make sure I can hear, and asking some guy that worked there, because we were like right up against this, it was like a big tower, and
I think they had soundboards and stuff in there.
And so she leans over and asks one of the guys in there who worked there, and she's like, "Can I talk to a security guard, please?" And he was like, "What?" And she's like, "Are they allowed to smoke here?" And she points at you, and he's just kind of like shook his head and shrugged his shoulders, like, "What are you talking about?" And then she goes, "Oh, never mind. I see one." And then she walks over and she's like, "Excuse me, security?" And there was no security guard there. And then she just looks at me, and at this point I'm just staring at her. Like, because like you can tell she's like just some fucking crazy bitch lady anyway. And she's like, "Oh, hi. I just can't breathe with that cigarette smoke." And I go, "Okay, he'll put it out." And then like you put it on the ground.
I'd already put it out by that point.
Yeah.
I knew what was happening.
And then she's like, "Oh, I can't breathe." And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem, lady." And then later on she's giving you shit.
Yeah. So, hey Sam, we're almost done with this one. So yeah. At one particular point, he'd done something off the Blue album, and I was singing along, as was the rest of the bajillion people there.
Yeah. I didn't feel like the crowd as a whole was that into Weezer last night. Like, I was wishing...
I was.
I kept thinking that maybe if
Sam,
we
you're
were...
creeping me
Sam
out.
was laying so close to you. It's like Kelly in an elevator.
You're ruining the flow. This is not a visual show.
I kept thinking that maybe if we got closer, like, we'd be around people that were, like, really dancing.
It didn't even look
and
that
stuff.
crazy way up at the front.
Nah, it didn't at all. Like, the crowd wasn't that into it.
But so they do the sweater song or something obvious that the whole crowd is singing along with in unison, or at least the people that are 30 or older.
Yeah.
And after the song's over, this same bitch turns around to me and she's like, "Wow, I really like your voice. I enjoyed hearing you sing that whole time." And I fucking just moved away.
Yeah.
I should have punched her in the face.
Yeah.
Or found security and see what they do about bitchiness.
Really. You should have called us. Like, she's like ruining your time.
And Kelly, who's standing right
And
behind
whoever
us.
replaced you standing behind her, like, wasn't going to be any better.
Yeah. Kelly, this whole time was misreading
I bet you she
everything.
made a fucking comment every time somebody tried to move past her and, like, bumped into her. Like, that happened to me a million times. I bet every time she was like, "Excuse me."
Kelly this whole time is thinking, "Is that girl hitting on you?" And I was like, "Oh, quite the opposite, actually. She fucking hates us." And I'm rewarded to know that she's the bitch that was only there to hear Buddy Holly and then leave, and they saved it for the last song.
Yeah.
That's it for an episode, I think. Let's go
All right.
smoke and start a new one with Sam.
Remember the unicorn people?
The unicorn people.
There was all the most annoying thing at Bumbershoot to me, and I was telling Alvina about it today.
Oh, yes.
Was like the 16-year-old kids walking around, free hugs, shit like that. Like, it was so annoying to me, and I was telling Alvina about it today.
You weren't at Folk Life. They should call Folk Life Free Hugs.
I was telling Alvina about it this morning, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that is stupid." And she's like, "Don't they know that quit being funny like when I was 16?" And I was like, "What? You did that when you were 16?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "No,
I don't think they're trying to be funny. They're just making a point. Hugs, not drugs, etc.
They're just little kids that are like, "Oh, we're gonna go there and just write free hugs and hug people." Like, they're just stupid. They're having fun in a really stupid fucking way. What's that? Free hugs? No. No one can hear a word you're saying.
Sam.
What is it called?
Free beer? Not free hugs. But yeah, so anyway, Alvina...
I think the 16-year-olds that I see at Folk Life going for free hugs have just discovered erections, and they're looking to, touch a body wherever they can.
It's just stuff like that. It's things that remind me of something stupid that I didn't used to do, but like that I would have thought it was funny back then. Just like yelling at people outside from your car window.
That was always hilarious, P-Day.
Yeah. As a pedestrian...
Here's a P-Day quote, yelling out of a car, and I've probably said it before. Where'd you get that shirt? The pink shirt store?
See, I had some good ones. And then, we'd be driving along someone on Pacific... We'd drive up alongside somebody, on Pacific Avenue, which is, the biggest street in Tacoma. And I'd go, excuse me, how do you get to Pacific Avenue? And they'd go, oh, you're on it. And I'd go, I already know that, idiot. And we'd drive away. It's how could you not know you're on Pacific Avenue? Obviously, someone's joking.
You had something to say about these unicorn faggots.
Oh, yeah, just that they reminded me of the same people. They were came in with their unicorn, and what song were they singing?
They were off to see the Wizard, the Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, and they were skipping in the line and shit like that, and no one can hear you. Oh, but you're right. I should clarify. So they've got a big stick, like they had won a unicorn at one of the games at the Seattle Center. It was at the end of a big stick,
a plush unicorn,
like about just a small.
Yeah, unicorns don't actually exist, Sam.
No, I know, but it's not I thought you were talking about the horse horse head on top of.
Oh, on the broomstick.
Yeah,
that would have been worse. But no, and it had glow sticks on it, and so they're just skipping through the crowd,
making a scene on their way to Weezer. Yeah. Everybody's gonna remember us.
But then once the crowd,
I guess it worked
up a little. Once the crowd clogged up and they had to stop, then they totally lost all their courage because we're all standing behind them, just making fun of them at this point. Remember, they were still trying to sing but not into it. Never mind. Take off all your clothes if it's so hot in here. I like that shirt.
Yeah, because you came in and ruined the flow of the second half of the show. We try to end on a joke, and I know you're full of them. Just say one into the mic, and then we'll go smoke and start your episode.
Yeah, you're full of it, all right.
Really put me on the spot. Fucking A, this is putting me on the spot.
Bullshit. You tell me a joke every time we go to the bar.
I can never remember them. I probably tell you the same one over and over again, actually.
We'll go with one of those.
Okay.
A short one.
Okay. What's the difference between... No, wait.
Where I come from isn't all that great. My automobile is a piece of crap. My fashion sense is a little whack, and my friends are just as screwy as me. I didn't go to boarding schools. Preppy girls never looked at me. Why should they? I ain't nobody, got nothing in my pocket. Beverly Hills, that's where I want to be. Living in Beverly Hills, rolling like a celebrity. Living in Beverly Hills. Look at all those movie stars, they're all so beautiful and clean. When the housemates rub the floors, they get the spaces in between. I wanna live a life like that. I wanna be just like a king. Take my picture by the pool, cause I'm the next big thing in Beverly Hills. That's where I want to be. Living in Beverly Hills, rolling like a celebrity. Living in Beverly Hills.
don't stand a chance. It's something that you're born into, and I just don't belong. No, I don't, I'm just a no-class beat-down fool, and I will always be that way. I might as well enjoy my life and watch the stars play. Never